Hi, welcome again to MC the Accountant Shares. And for this session, I'm going to continue the history of accounting. This is like the part two of that particular clip. Now, I told you that I'm going to make a part two based on another source. So here it is. This is based on Win Lu Balyada's book, that is Basic Financial Accounting and Reporting. All right. So you can see on the screen the evolution of humans, and this is with technology, but I'm just like laughing about it, or at the same time, because it's like though humans evolved from the so-called hominids or human-like species. By the way, it has been found out by research and researchers that the so-called hominids or human-like individuals or species or beings are not actually on the same particular strand of evolution as humans, like our link to the Homo sapiens. The Homo sapiens are us, the modern human beings. So it has been found out that out of the links from the primates, so the like monkeys, etc., orangutans, and so on, then the hominids or the human-like species are different strand or branch with the monkeys. So meaning we are not really like coming from them. Okay, I hope that is clear. It has been found out by research and researchers. So I just laughed about this one because it seemed that there was evolution, but hey, like this man is like going the same path as before. Anyway, just kidding, guys. I think you get what I mean. Okay, another one is this picture. So you can just notice how things changed in terms of evolution. Like this was the setup before, and then I'm not sure what this could be, but it's like outdated and now using the modern technology, computers. So before I begin with evolution, allow me to show you another picture. This is about evolution of accounting. So as said, the first paragraph talks about aside from the other professions like medicine, law, of human activities. So accounting has also evolved, and this is because of the needs. So I think I've mentioned to you about this one in the introduction to accounting. So bookkeeping and accounting appeared not as a chance phenomenon, but distinctly in response to a world need. Very true. There is a need for us to properly allocate the resources for the business and for humans and the economy. That's why there is a need for bookkeeping and accounting. And then with that, for centuries, there was the system of double entry bookkeeping appeared. In History of Accounting, I told you about a bit of why Fra Luca Pacioli is considered like the father of accounting and bookkeeping in terms of the utilization of the concept, but it's not really him who actually pioneered the concept. So there was Cotrogli, Mr. Cotrogli, was it Benito? Okay, you can check that out with the complete name. It is Khashoggi that originated the concept, but it was not published. On the other end or hand, Pacioli published. That's why he got the credit. So that's how it is, guys. You have to be careful about your ideas or concepts because we will never know if we can get something out of that. But because we did not publish, so your efforts were like secondary as compared with the others. Anyway, what is clear is that the work of Fra Luca Pescioli is not the original, just for us to emphasize. Anyhow, but he got the credit. So again, why? Because it was published and it was really utilized during the time in Italy where trading has flourished in Venice and other places. Okay. So it was also during the 19th century that there was a shift or movement from simple bookkeeping, recording of transactions. By the way, this is like basic financial accounting and reporting, which is more on bookkeeping. And then it's more from that to a comprehensive, so from simple to comprehensive type of reporting and information system. Okay, after that, let's have the evolution. So as what I've said, the accounting changed because also of changes and dynamism in the environment. So we need to know the accounting pedagogy, meaning the background, policy, and practice. So accounting history is the study of evolution in the accounting thought. Now, accounting history is not much like tackled even in board examinations, but there is a need for us to know so that we will know where we are coming from and so that we will be guided as to what we are going to go into the future. So this is primitive accounting. So this is like before the records are properly made and the archiving of records are established properly. So it can be traced as back or as far back as 8500 BC, wherein this is the Mesopotamia or modern Iraq. I also discussed this in our separate episode of history of accounting. So there was a usage of clay tokens, cones, discs, spheres, and pellets. All right, and these are used to represent commodities. So basically, this is like the modern currency or money that we have. Then the tokens were sealed in clay balls called bullae, which were broken on delivery so that shipment could be checked against the invoice. In effect, the bullae is like the first bills of lading. So the shipping document which shows to you the units, the quantity, the cost, and the total cost of the goods shipped. And then later on, symbols are impressed on wet clay tablets, and later on they are dried. So thankfully, those are normally our basis in the modern world because of preservation of clay tablets. Then also it dated back to China, Babylonia, Greece, and Egypt. So in First Dynasty of Babylonia, there was the Code of Hammurabi, in which it shows it requires merchants trading goods to give buyers a sealed memorandum containing the agreed price. So it's like the contract being made, and before it can be considered enforceable. So at that point, that was even BC, there was really already an established way of making contracts for trading. Okay, so this clay was allowed to dry and served as the record of the transaction. Next, there are also clay tablets for payment of wages in 3600 BC. So basically, accounting is one of our oldest skills. We also have writing track in bushels of grain into the king's warehouse, and tablets recorded who brought in the grain and how much the king took as his share. So in that case, that is really proper accounting because the grains harvested from farms are being kept in the warehouse, and a portion of that goes to the king, goes to the owner, and that is like properly recorded. So in that case, that is accounting, which is a systematic recording of transactions. Okay, so among other things are also invention of writing, Arabic numerals, in which we are using Hindu Arabic numerals from one, so on. So how do we write the present number? Decimal system for the point something up to hundredths place. Then diffusion of knowledge of algebra. So algebra is also being used in accounting and other fields or disciplines. Presence of inexpensive writing material. So before we are just using like papyrus, so that particular paper-like document in which we are going to write our notes or writings. And we have the standard medium of exchange, which is money. That is really good, right? So in that case, we can actually summarize into the 7 preconditions for systematic bookkeeping. So you have here the arithmetic, mechanical aspect of bookkeeping. So this is going to deal with numbers. Private property, we talk about keeping the records for properties of private individuals' money, that's the standard medium of exchange. Credit, in which this is still incomplete or incomplete transaction or transactions because payments are to be made later. Commerce is buying and selling or trade. And capital, because this is our investment in order to start the business. Okay, that's it for primitive era. Next is on Middle Ages. For Middle Ages, this is where we have the Crusades. So in Crusades, they're from Europe and they are bringing their culture to the Near East. And the East also incorporated their culture to the people from Europe. So the Europeans later on brought with them the knowledge of the Arabic numerals. So Arabic coming from Arab, so in Middle East, and Hindu, so India. Also, there are some inflections of accounting system in Inca Empire. So this is in the west coast of South America, and there is the usage of Hipu. By the way, we do not memorize terms in accounting. We just have to appreciate the concepts here. In Italy, there's formal account keeping methods, and also there's double entry bookkeeping. So again, it's an outcome of continuous efforts to the changing necessities of trade. So any movements, any updates or developments in accounting was because of the change in the need. Otherwise, the profession will become stagnant or will stagnate or die out. Next, Florentine approach in Renaissance. So this is where we have the usage of accounting in the respective field. So there's double entry bookkeeping, and there were informal social networks already. Businesses was conducted on logic of friendship, but was more on emotional. So that is like the taboo in which we are getting emotional with business. So that's how we are going to decide. And that's why there is a need to properly account because it shows to us what really happened in the business. So there were some efforts to properly establish, and that is to be done objectively in France, in Italy. But it's more on the narrative or paragraph type of accounting. So that's why it was not really that good though. The system was primitive, still outdated or old dated. Accounts were not related in any special way because we will know later on the concept of articulation, wherein accounts in financial statements are connected with each other. And the balancing of the accounts was lacking because we will learn also, actually, I've released already a certain episode or session that the two sides must be equal. Okay, then after that is the inclusion of Giovanni Farolfi and company. So they made use of ledgers. Amatino Manucci was the inventor of double entry bookkeeping. Okay, so he managed to construct a comprehensive and fully articulated set of double entry records. Then these were from Florentine approach. Next is our father in of accounting, which is the method of Venice. Our father is Fra Luca Pacioli. Again, he is a Franciscan monk or friar. He is more of a mathematician if you are going to take a look at the works of the person. And then, okay, so for a while. Anyway, so you have here the book for a while. Sorry for the interruption. So you have here again the works, which are more on mathematics than of accounting. So his work is known as the Venice or the Italian method. So in this particular situation, it was more of a description of accounting or bookkeeping than it is practiced. So he's like given the title, the father of accounting and bookkeeping, as I explained also in history of accounting. Okay, so next to that is Savory and Napoleonic Commercial Code. By the way, you can just notice that there are even people prior to Fra Luca that really already made use of the concept of double entry bookkeeping system. Next, for Savory and Napoleonic Commercial Code, so you can see here that the French noblemen already made use of the concepts of accounting. So you have here, the highlight here is the lower of cost or market principle, in which we are going to measure the inventories, and that is also applied in the modern age. So not just the cost, meaning what you spent to be able to make the goods saleable, it's more on the net realizable value, meaning the value really that we can sell our inventories or goods to be sold. That's the good thing there. And then you have here the classifying of records by Nicholas Petrie and accounts. Then in 1769, Benjamin Workman published the American Accountant, which is the earliest known American accounting textbook. Then after that, in 18th to 19th century, we have the Industrial Revolution, in which the labor become or became or be, became lesser actually, and then it's more on the machines are used than human beings or labor. Okay, then okay, for a while. Okay, for a little while. Ay, para ito na siya pagdaslain mo. Okay. Diri na ko. Na ako buhat. Ay, naku. Oh. Ano nga na dinaka igo. Okay. So for this particular part here, again, I repeat, you have here the usage of machines, then just the labor intensive type of production before. So you have here the usage of machines in the operations. Also, there were railroads being used to be able to transport goods from one area to another. So that's the good thing about industrial revolution. There's also a need to properly account the goods, because if or properly account the resources, not just the goods, because it's not going to be easy to sustain operations in a machine oriented environment. It's going to be capital intensive. If we say capital intensive, meaning we need to put more resources of or money, not just like same as labor, wherein it's going to be lesser, though with more people to be involved. In capital intensive, it's going to save us more in the long run, but in the short run or initial stage of production, it's going to make us shell out more. Okay, so after that, you have here the other outputs in the American firms or system. You have here the railroads. We also have the concept of depreciation, which is starting or which has started in 1909. And then in the 20th century, there were some managers began using depreciation to smooth reported earnings. So in that case, this helped the organization to be able to legally produce or present financial statements showing lesser profits, because depreciations are expenses. So they increase the expenses, therefore lower profits and lower taxes. Okay, then although there has been a conviction and there has been some comments about the usage of depreciation to smoothen the earnings. So like a lot of practitioners perhaps at that time use depreciation negatively. So it is used in unethical ways or illegal ways for some. Because supposedly, whatever is the depreciation expense, it should have been reported. So more of that will be discussed anyway in your other sessions. But the point here is that heavy depreciation charges were made in good years, because there are high profits. But then in those years that the operations of the business did not have high revenue, so they removed the provision for depreciation or just placed lower amounts or values. So sorry guys for this episode in which we have many like interruptions. So interruptions cannot be avoided. Next, March 12, 1903. This is on Price Waterhouse and Company's PW. So now it's PwC with Cooper. So like the leading auditing firm slash accounting firm worldwide. In Philippine setting, the affiliate or counterpart is Isla Lipana and Company. So United States Steel published consolidated financial statements and the assurance coming from PW at that time. So this is like the first time that auditing was really in place in the modern world and big time because it's the first billion-dollar corporation. So you can just see it controlled 75% of the US steel business. Okay, and many more items here. By the way, the consolidated financial statements of US Steels became a landmark in accounting history. So it was the most complete and circumstantial report ever issued by any great American corporation. Wow, you can just notice and you can just imagine company's total assets of over $1.5 billion, dollars, which was the amount at 1903. You can just imagine if we convert that particular value to the modern time with respect also to inflation. So it dwarfed the $50 million appropriated or appropriation by Congress for the war. Anyway, next, model of the chart of accounts, which is the list of account titles. So you have here Schmallenbeck, which was a German academician and economist. So he had contributions in economics, business management, and financial accounting. But then he has noticed that perhaps there were no established account titles to be used, and that's why he used the model for chart of accounts. And now we are enjoying the work because the chart of accounts would show to us the list of the account titles to be used in the recording of transactions of the business. Again, there are sounds, guys, in my background, so please disregard. Then also dynamic balances, meaning there are changes of the balances of the particular accounts or account titles. Then income tax impositions. So it even started in 10 CE in China. But I told you also in the history of accounting that even during the time of Roman Empire, even the time of Jesus, so there was the imposition of taxes, right? So Julius Caesar's time, but that is already AD. This is CE. Okay, in the Philippines, we also have the Corporation of Accounting in our system. So, of course, during the Commonwealth time, Philippines was managed by the Americans. So they organized Bureau of Internal Revenue, the Philippines BIR, and then the incorporation of financial accounting in our economy, also tax accounting, then the concept that financial accounting and tax accounting should be separate entities. We are going to treat them as separate fields. So when we prepare financial statements, then we have to go to financial accounting. But when we prepare returns, we have to consider tax laws. Then in the modern world, we now have the information age in which we are using computers. Technology is at our fingertips, at our end, in which it is very comfortable on our end. We can do it, utilize it on our respective time. So we can minimize efforts in computations because there are softwares that can do such. All we have to do is to encode or place certain inputs in the respective system because accounting is a system. So you have again the input, process, and output. And as expected, accounting is not going to stop. It's not stopping anywhere or it does not stop anymore. It's nowhere to stop. So it's going to evolve, evolve, and evolve because the needs also of people are evolving. All right. So hopefully you learned something today, guys, with our session. And please place under the comment section for more videos or more topics that you want me to react to. Sorry, guys, if I get lost track sometimes because, again, of interruptions. Anyway, our questions, because, and technology also at hand. And then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share this particular channel and the positivity to those people who wanted to learn accounting more in the easiest possible way. And also don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you next time in the next videos. Bye for now.